Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome again. Hope you all are doing good. Welcome to the new episode of Shweta Garg Talk Show, and I am Shweta Garg here, an image transformation expert, the founder of Dream Image Consulting and Behavioral Training Institute. We are back again with our talk show with another guest. Before getting our guest online, I would like to quote that there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And our today's episode and our today's topic that we are going to discuss in our episode has great significance in our lives and society. We will talk about a wide range of topics from mental health to therapy to well-being and things of that nature. And to join us in this talk, we have invited a guest who is the perfect epitome to convey the importance of the same. She's the founder and CEO of Inner Tattva, a healthcare and wellness brand, as well as psychologist and psychotherapist consultant. She has a strong background in psychology and healthcare in general. She works with notable brands, to name a few, such as Bajaj Finserv Health and Thrives India. Let's welcome today's guest, who is none other than Miss Sushmita Singh. Let's get her in. Hello, Sushmita. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you for honoring us with your presence and coming to our show. Thank you so much. We are so honored to have you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, Sushmita, I mentioned that today's episode is more on mental health and therapy. And I will start with my show with my first question on that. How did your career in healthcare and wellness begin? Because I have seen that you've taken many professional certification courses in mental health space from prestigious colleges and institutions. So, what inspired you to go deep and get an education in a field like mental health?
Okay, so to answer this, it's a very interesting question. And to answer this, I would like to give a brief background about me as a person. So, I come from a family of doctors and engineers. So, I ended up taking science, did PCMB, IT entire thing, gave my CET, scored well. But while I was preparing for different entrances, I told my parents that this is not something I want to do ahead. I want to do MBA in HR. So
Oh,
then I started reverse tracking which subject would be the best for me to, if I want to do MBA in HR. Then eventually I went for career counseling and all those things. I landed up with majors in psychology. That's how the journey began. There are different sorts of people. One that they know what they want to do. The second category is they're figuring out. They're not clear yet, but they're on the way. And I am in the third category, who was very clear about what I don't want to do. So then
that's
the journey began. Okay, अब ये सब नहीं करना है तो क्या करना है?
That's so good, because knowing that what you don't want to do is also very good. Because then you will not fall in the wrong career, because इस रास्ते तो नहीं जाना है. This is not my way. I have to go other way around, and let me figure out in that way, what should I do. So was there any specific inspiration that, oh, this is the incidence, or this circumstance inspired me to go into mental health, or it just happened?
No, while I was studying, like growing up, I've always been inclined towards humanities and social work. Even
Right.
during my college days, I was very active with NSS, and I've mainly worked with all major NGOs in Mumbai. So I think
Oh,
it was college time when I was very clear that someday I will have my own setup in the wellness space. It could have been an NGO, but I ended up being a solopreneur.
that's good. That's good. So, like you said, now you've ended up being a solopreneur, and after getting certified, you started your own company, right? Inner Tattva. So, when did you find your calling to start your own wellness and healthcare company? Because I'm sure you might have worked for someone initially, or worked on clients, and then you came up with the inner tattva, right? So any specific purpose behind the concept of inner tattva?
I love the question because even the mental health care industry is very vast when you look at
Right.
wellness, and there are different sorts, right? Uh, while I was working, I worked with schools, colleges, hospitals, but those experiences actually led me to start in Tattva, because it's not one thing that you cater to. Okay, say I
Right.
will only handle this aspect if I have to treat you. While treating a person, you have to take care of the entire person as a whole,
Right.
right? You have to look at the mind, spirit, and all the dimensions of existence. So
Right.
that's how I started, because it's in that ability, to witness and be a part of in some way, where you can transform lives, be it any setup, or like I mentioned, school, hospital, college, or directly working with them at grassroots level. So for me,
Right.
when I realized, okay, I have that ability through my work, I can impact someone's way of living, and then how would I do it? Then that platform, the idea of creating a space emerged, because if you go by the name inner tattva, the whole purpose is to help the person get back to the source and reconnect with themselves, to harmonize their mind, body, and spirit. So yeah, that's how
Wow,
inner
that's so
tattva
beautiful.
started.
I think we all, in today's world, especially such a stressful life we have, we all need to connect back to our soul, reconnect to our souls, and it's such a beautiful thought. And if this happens, happiness is something which is missing everywhere nowadays. So people will be really happy, and they will explore that aspect which is missing in the life in today's world. Like you mentioned, inner tattva purpose is basically reconnecting with the soul, and you might be doing therapies also. Yeah.
So, yeah,
So
we offer like a wide range of services. We have clinical services where there's counseling, psychotherapy. You can consult a doctor as well. And we
right.
also have public health initiatives where we conduct all the outreach and awareness building activities, like
Right.
conducting school workshops or workshops for in organizations to actually, mental health is right now a trend, like everybody is getting into it, but when
Hmm.
I chose it, it was not the scenario. So I think my job mainly here is because to let people know what is actually mental health. So that's where our awareness building programs run. Yeah.
So when you said awareness building, Sushmita, it's about understanding your own self, right? Finding clarity about your own self. But I have this question from you, being a psychologist, and how does therapy assist us in understanding ourselves, finding clarity, or hope in our lives? I'm sure there are various modes of therapy sessions, but how does it help us in doing that?
So I'll give you a like typical what happens in a typical therapy session. Like you
Right.
go to a therapist, you share your concerns. It could be the issues that you're dealing with at that point, or in general, if you want to seek clarity. Then the
Hmm.
therapist will make a plan with you, that how you want
Right.
to approach this goal, and that's how the setting works. Now therapy isn't something like, you just go there for a session and it's done. Ki, okay, now I've been to therapy, now my issues should magically disappear. It's not like that. And it's often uncomfortable that you have to sit and confront your the things that you keep on putting on the back burner, ki dekh lenge, ho jayega, or you keep
Right.
running from, like, that you need to work on your lifestyle change, or something that I know I need to do but I'm not doing it. Therapy can even help you with that, because at the end the goal is to my goal is to help the client reach that level of insight where they
Right.
can take the right decisions for themselves, and therapy helps with that, because you have a better understanding of yourself, the world around you, so you can take
Right.
better decisions.
But like you said, people shy out in coming out, and certain things that they have put at the back seat, and talking about that is something is very difficult, right? And as an expert, why do you think people in general, it happens whether I talk about India or Western culture, they don't talk about mental health because they consider it a taboo, and what can we do, or how can we change this narrative, especially in India?
So we should understand where is that stigma coming from. So there is
Oh,
stigma in society because there is lack of awareness and sensitivity about the topic. So I think
hmm,
the primary goal should be increasing the mental health literacy around through
okay.
various awareness building programs like I'm talking to you here, you know. We could do things like that to start the conversations, and I'm really glad that we are actually living in an era where I can tell you how much things have changed in the last decade. When I was studying psychology, I had to actually explain people how is it different from physiotherapy. I'm not a physiotherapist, I am going to be a psychologist. So from that level of awareness to now people knowing that mental health is something that exists, it's a great, I think the narrative is changing.
And I also think that COVID has helped a lot in that. COVID has made people realize the importance of mental health. What do you say about it?
I definitely agree with it because there has been a spike in the overall mental health industry, if you
Right.
see, in the last 2 years than it was because uh, like I said, people are so trapped in the mundane, in the outside world, that they don't get the time to sit with themselves and reflect upon their life. What am I doing? Where is my life going? And in the lockdown, in some way they were forced to sit with themselves and face their demons. I think that's where suddenly even the mental health issues spiked, like
Yes.
not with the people already diagnosed and having the conditions and undergoing treatment, but also new people were approaching us. And I think that's how I started my officially another public page, and the journey began. Ki, okay, now I have a bigger audience to cater to.
Right. But tell me one thing, like you said, new people, they discover that they are suffering from mental health. But do you think after COVID they're more open to speak about it, or it's still the same?
Reluctance is there, but I think there is accessibility has increased, I believe. Like
Okay.
earlier I had to look around, finding the nearest center. Say if not I'm not a master of everything, right? If I'm not specialized in something, I have to refer the client. So,
Right.
in that terms, now there are more because IT industries have invested in mental health. There are more apps, so help is more easily accessible right now. So,
Hmm.
hence, people are also reaching out. Say, someone would shy out going to a psychiatrist or psychologist clinic directly, but
Right.
now they can, they have it on their phone. They can just download the app, and telemental health sector has had a boost, and I think that is why people are reaching out.
People are reaching
Accessibility
out.
is
And
there.
there is a myth also, prevailing myth in the people's mind that psychologist is something that we don't have to go to. So what are the myths about being a psychologist that you have heard, and would you like to address them?
I don't know where to start from because, to be honest, the list is endless. Like, for starters, I cannot read your mind. Okay, this is something I get so often till now. Like, people used to joke with this while we were studying, but whenever I say, okay, okay, I'm a psychologist, oh, so you're reading this, so get into that defensive mode. Okay, she knows everything what's going on in my mind. No, I don't know. I can maybe observe a few things and take a wild guess, but no, I don't know what's going on in your mind. I can't read your thoughts.
Okay. So I think that's with everyone. Now I, yes, I am clear at this phase of life when I have children and I've grown up. But when I was also in college and I was also studying, I always had this in mind that psychologists can read your minds. If you sit in front of them, they will know what you're thinking. Yeah, that's a prevailing myth. I think everyone has that. So yes. Okay, tell me one thing. As a career, now yes, you already mentioned that people are more aware about it. Like you don't have to tell them a difference between physiotherapy and psychology. But what are the career options for someone who has studied psychology or therapy in India?
So this is actually a very vast topic. It can be a separate webinar altogether. But to sum it up, say you've done masters in psychology. That is like the basic training to be a psychologist, right? In India, at least. And later on, you will need additional training, and you can go ahead for other courses if you want to specialize in a specific sector. But
Hmm.
MA psychology or MSc psychology is the basic prerequisite if you want to become a psychologist in India. You
Okay.
can work in a private setup, you can work in hospitals, but you will need additional training. Say, if you want to practice as a clinical psychologist and work in hospitals, you will need a MPhil in psychology. Then you
Okay.
can work in the research sector, or you can work with schools as a counseling psychologist with just a master's degree is enough. But I would really encourage you to go and seek additional training, because college, the 2 years of masters, doesn't prepare you for the outside world. Even though there's internship and everything else, you will need additional training.
So there's quite a lot of options, if you're in this field. It's just have to, like you mentioned, you need additional training, and I think one should. It's always better when we do MBA. Also, we seek, additional training so that we are prepared for the outside world. So that yes, for our audience, whoever wants to go in this field, like Sushmita mentioned, there are multiple options. And after MA, also please go for additional training so that you are prepared for the outside world and prepared for your clients. Okay, maybe we move on. Sushmita, one of the things related to happiness I want to ask you. It said that paying gratitude, is short way of happiness. Now, and nowadays people are like, we should pay gratitude, in the evening. We should, whatever we have, paying gratitude is must, right? And I believe that being grateful is some way actually leads to happiness, right? So, how can one adapt the concept of being grateful to become happy?
So, I was studying positive psychology during my masters, and there are research to prove that practicing gratitude is directly linked to higher levels of happiness. So
Okay.
I started this thing with a friend of mine. I don't know if she's watching it, Bansri. It's a shout out for you. So we started with maintaining a gratitude journal. Every night we used to write three things that we are grateful for. Anything that happened throughout the day, and we had to write it that day itself. I can't write something tomorrow which happened yesterday, like that.
Right.
And
Okay.
for accountability, so that we stick to it, we used to write and share the images with each other ki aaj ye hua, and these are the three things that I'm grateful for. And I experienced it myself, that how it works wonders, because my teacher used to tell that with gratitude grace flows in your life, and I truly believe it.
That's so true. And the thing which you just said, that for accountability, you you write it and share with your friend. You always used to do that, and I think it's a great piece of advice also for our listeners, for our audience, that yes, you have to pay gratitude, you should be grateful, but sometimes we are human beings. We take things for granted. We'll write 2 days and then we'll forget, and we'll not write. We are not in that flow. And if we do that with one person and share with them, it's like the responsibility comes on you that every day we have to do this. Like it's like a routine for you, because accountability comes when you involve other people, when you have to share with them, and then you can see the difference. Once when we are talking, when discussing, you never know when you have given a great piece of advice. So this is something very good to notice, that to be accountable, involve other peoples and share with them. This way you are helping them also and you are helping your own self. It's basically empowering yourself and others, right? Do you agree with me,
I agree.
Sushmita?
I totally agree with everything you said.
Right. Okay. Uh, you told me about psychology's myth that people have, but I want to know that what is one fundamental difference between being a psychologist and being a therapist?
Okay. So, like I said, a psychologist is someone with a master's degree in psychology, and anybody, the people I mentioned, can be a psychologist, can be a therapist, a
Okay.
psychiatrist, social worker can also be a therapist. So,
Okay.
yeah. It's not necessary that only psychologists are therapists. Anybody who is trained in psychotherapy can be a psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Also, Sushmita, people, you know, many people, they think that someone suffering from mental health, they only need therapy. Is this the case, or anyone can take therapy sessions?
Anybody can take therapy. I would actually encourage, like, as a practicing psychologist, we are encouraged to seek therapy, just for support building. And it's because it's a very taxing field. We experience burnout, so I take therapy. Then I think anybody, it's not that you need to have some sort of illness or problems only, then you should seek therapy. You can take therapy for anything. If you want to take up, like I said, accountability. So if you want to make better decisions, or if you want to implement lifestyle changes, if you need a better perspective on something in life, or if
Right.
you're looking for clarity, there are too many things. So then you can seek therapy to gain a better understanding of what you are in, a third person's perspective. And also, going to therapy helps build that support network for you. Like,
Okay.
say I am someone who is dealing with addiction or something like that, and I have a tendency to fall back to those not so healthy traits. So having
Okay.
going to therapy or group therapy per se, you have that support network that will keep you pushing you to the right direction. I
Yeah.
feel so
So,
it's not
so that,
necessary that I need to have like a mental illness only to seek therapy.
that means anyone can take therapy sessions, right?
Yeah.
And also, if I talk about happiness, like we just spoke about gratitude, uh, if people are really doing well also, no, in every aspect of their lives, still sometimes they are less happy. That happiness is missing. Why? you know as an expert, what do you have to say about it, that people after doing so well in their career, in their personal life, and if you ask them, they'll say, I have everything but I'm not happy. Why is that so?
I feel that happiness, the entire topic is very subjective. It depends from person to person. Say,
Okay.
like you said, they have everything professionally, personally, they're still unhappy. So I can be married and I can be happy. I can be married and I can be unhappy, right? Or I'm single and happy, or I can be single and unhappy. So it is very subjective. It depends on the source. Where are you looking at happiness? Like, आप happiness कहाँ ढूंढ रहे हो? If you're looking at outside, so it you will get happiness. Say if I get a new iPhone 14 which is about to launch, then if I get this, then I will be happy. So if you're basing your happiness on outside things, then once you get that thing, it will move to another thing. Say once I complete my MPhil, I will be happy. Then after doing MPhil, then what? So it keeps on changing. Then you're never happy, right? Because happiness keeps shifting from A to B to C, and one day you realize my entire life is gone and I'm not happy, right? So I think you should look at the source. Bahar nahi hai khushi, it's inside you. And to be able to tap into that, I think when your mind, body, and spirit is in harmony, then you can truly experience what happiness is, or truly experience yourself when you are in
I
harmony.
think you rightly said that the happiness is within. That's why when we talk about happiness, mindfulness, trainings and meditations help you, because they help you, in your words, reconnect with your soul. That's what happens. And the kind of happiness, if people are looking outside that iPhone or materialistic things, see, materialistic things are important, but I think that they don't give you happiness. They don't, that happiness is not long lived.
Yes, it's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary for that short period of time. So yes, the happiness is from within, and it depends on the source where you're looking for. That's a very good thing that you said. And also, we were talking about awareness, like you mentioned that webinars can be done for more mental health awareness. But then, so, do you believe that there should be a mental health class in high school or colleges to raise awareness? Now, my question is based on something. I'll tell you what. Uh, I'm seeing in schools, colleges far away. In school, because my daughter is a teenager and I can connect with that. The teenagers have so many problems related to mental health. You know, uh, we parents cannot even expect, cannot even think about that, and they don't share that much. So school, they should actually, do you think they should actually conduct classes, awareness classes for mental health, where like you said, counselors are there and you can work as a counselor, but sometimes they shy out going to that counselor, but listening to someone, knowing about how important it is, and then coming out and talking to a counselor will help them.
I
What?
absolutely agree. Yes, yes, and yes. And I think this is the primary reason why I designed a comprehensive mental health program for schools in 2019, early
Okay.
2019, until the lockdown. I think before March, when the schools left for exams and everything, that entire year, I made sure I've conducted this program. I don't have a count right now in how many schools, but all major schools across Mumbai. I made sure, and it was class wise, like fifth to sixth, as a segments thing for different age groups, where the whole idea was again awareness building. And if they how to identify the signs and symptoms, if someone in their class, like you said, people shy out, so what are the signs that your classmate is struggling with mental health issues? How can you identify them, and what are the next steps? Say if there's not a school counselor in your school, then what will you do? Whom will you reach out? So such kind of training was given to students in 2019, and I wish to continue it. I did it in the lockdown as well, online, but I believe in offline sessions more. So yeah, I hope that now everything is fine. I can start with the comprehensive mental health program again.
Yeah, everything is fine. You will soon start. But tell me one thing: is there a age, specific age when this mental health problem starts? Like you said, 5 to 5 year old to, right, 6 or 7. So I'm I'm not able to understand that that age kids, do they have mental health problems?
So I don't think we can put a specific age group. The onset for different disorders is different. Say if you are talking about developmental disorders, so their
Right.
identification would be early, right? 2 to 3 years old, you will see that there are stages of development, right? कि इस एज
Hmm.
पे आपको बोलने आना चाहिए, आपको चलने आना चाहिए. By this age, you should be able to do this and that. There are several parameters, right, age wise. So you can detect the developmental, neurodevelopmental disorders. Talking about mental health, but depression, anxiety is something that you have to look at. For children, they will you will see there are night sweats. They will avoid going to school, and they there are certain signs in the behavior which can help you identify, but I can't like pin a age to it कि इस age में ही होता है. But
Okay.
like teenagers, when they come with relationship issues, or especially teenagers come with self-esteem, body image issues. So
Right.
it's different for different age groups, the onset. But I cannot like put an age to it कि सिर्फ ओल्ड एज वाले लोगों को ही डिप्रेशन होता है या फिर एडोलेसेंस को ही होता है. किसी को भी हो सकता है डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी एंड अदर. देयर आर various factors, environmental, social, genetic factors, and which determine your vulnerability कि आप कितने predisposition basically कि even if it's there, what are the chances that it will happen to you. So there are a lot of factors that come into play.
Okay. Okay. Great.
I hope it was not too heavy. I went on in the floor.
No, 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 no. It is not too heavy. In fact, it's a great piece of information. I know that people should know about it. Like we are doing this so that people should be aware about mental health, which is very, very important in today's world. Everybody's life is stressed. One or the other reason we have issues which we are not aware about, and slowly when and also one more question. Any symptoms that you want to mention? I know you mentioned night sweats, avoid going to the school or college, but in adults, any symptoms that are specific for depression or anxieties, so that we ourselves know, because before going to a psychologist we should know, oh, we need a psychologist. To know that we need a psychologist, how can we gauge that, oh, I have these symptoms, probably I'm going through this?
You should look at one thing that is there, which distinguishes between feeling sad versus you think you might have depression, clinical depression, is that whatever is happening with me, is it affecting my day to day living. Say someday my sleep cycle is not regular, my mood is not fine, that does not mean some days I feel low, that does not mean I have depression. People tend to misunderstand sadness with depression. Depression is not like one day you feel sad and the second day you are absolutely fine. No, it's not like that. It's over a period of 6 months. If you notice that there are changes in your you can look at the basic things like eating habits. You've suddenly stopped eating, like बहुत कम कर दिया है खाना, और you've started eating too much, so it will show in your weight, right? कि आपका weight एकदम ही कम हो गया है या फिर बहुत ही बढ़ गया है. Both the extremes are not nice. You look at your sleep. If you are sleeping too much or too less, again at the extremes. So these are two basic things. Then you can look at social isolation. That पहले मैं बहुत बाहर जाता था, ये करता था, वो करता था. Now I'm not doing that. Or you avoid meeting new people, going out, talking to, avoid taking phone calls. Or you can social isolation. Look at the things that you used to enjoy earlier and now you don't find them interesting. Like your hobbies, you tend to get busy in your life now, so कुछ चीजें हैं जो पीछे छूट जाती हैं. I understand that. But basic things like आप कर भी रहे हो फिर भी you don't feel happy. Happiness भूल जाओ. Sometimes it could be numbness. You don't feel anything. You don't feel sad. You don't feel happy. You cannot experience emotions like you used to. These are all warning signs that you should seek professional help. And you
Yeah.
can identify them by yourselves or just by looking at the other person.
So, for our listeners, Sushmita has given a few symptoms that when you go through them, you can actually self identify that, okay, fine, probably I have this problem, I need a psychologist. And there's a difference between sadness and depression. And I think you've very well clarified it, Sushmita, because sometimes it happens that when you're sad and for few months it goes on and you feel, oh, probably I'm depressed. So that's not the same. Thank you so much for clarifying. I would end this by asking last question, which I ask everyone, every guest who is here, that what is one piece of advice you would like to give, our budding entrepreneurs, because they want to put their foot in the business world, right? And business world is quite challenging. You have to go through ups and
Yeah.
downs and all. So, what kind of advice you want to give them as a psychologist to the budding entrepreneurs?
As being a solopreneur myself in this industry, I would say that, see, there will be people, event situations that are going to shake you up, right? That's inevitable. But you
Right.
need to be mindful of what's inside, because, say I'm holding this cup, okay? And if there is coffee inside this cup and someone comes and pushes me, the coffee will spill out, right?
Hmm.
So you should be mindful what you're filling your cup with. So self-care is very important. No matter what happens, never neglect your self-care. Secondly, there will be times that you feel like an imposter. I don't know what am I doing, why am I here. हम बहुत passionate होके start तो करते हैं, but in the course somewhere that passion dries out, and then you feel like there are a lot of things you start
Right.
questioning everything. And I think this time comes in everybody's life at some point or the other. You question like everything. Why am I in this field? Why am I doing this? Blah blah blah. So there will be times. So just have faith in your own ability, why you started. So there should be
Hmm.
a purpose attached, higher purpose, not just because हाँ अच्छा लग रहा है इसलिए कर रहा हूँ. अभी अच्छा लग रहा है, हो सकता है कुछ टाइम बाद ना अच्छा लगे. So
Right.
again, where you base your happiness. So there should be some purpose and meaning in what drives you. And to keep it going, you have to feed yourself with the faith. Have faith in your abilities to learn and grow with time. Okay, I haven't figured it out yet, I will. That is something I keep telling myself, constant reminder. ठीक है अभी नहीं पता, but I will figure it out. So बोलती नहीं हूँ, then I have to work on it as well. So that's there. ऐसा हो जाता ना, I don't know anything, वाह क्या चल रहा है. So again, building a support network here helps a lot. Say if you have a family or friends, when you feel low, they are there to push you ahead. So the support network could be of anybody, right? Sometimes your Instagram community as well. Like you don't feel like putting up a post, but then there will be sudden DMs. What happened? Are you okay? I haven't seen you for a while. So sometimes you have to show up for them as well.
Right. Right. That's great, Sushmita. I think I really love what you said, that it's very important that with what you fill your cup with, you know, to extend that a little bit. So, what I understand is that cup is you, right? That's the context,
Yeah.
and the content is the coffee. So, it's very important that what you fill yourself, what kind of content you're filling yourself with, and also support network, yes, it is always there for you. It is that's the biggest support when you're feeling low, because being an entrepreneur, it's a very challenging journey. You will have those ups and downs when you will need people, when you will look out for people to support you. That is very important. And positivity, the source that you're looking for is also very important. Thank you, Sushmita. I think it's a great piece of advice. And thank you so much for giving your time and sharing your journey and achievements here. I love the conversation. I love the way you explained everything. I think I also got much more clarity on this. I hope our audience also did, and our audience also loved it, and I hope you do love that. Our whole conversation today, because it was amazing. It was amazing.
I want to thank you, first of all, for having me here, giving me the platform, to speak my mind, like whatever. I did not worry about it at all. I came here very casually. Okay, yeah, I'm just talking to a friend. It didn't feel like I'm meeting you for the first time or There was no inhibition in sharing, and I have this tendency to go with the flow. That didn't happen. I'm so happy, and I want to give you a shout out on your own platform for your initiative to encourage and celebrate women entrepreneurs. We don't get to see that very often, like women supporting other women in their initiatives. So when your team reached out to me, I was very impressed with the initiative itself, and without a thought, I immediately said yes, that yeah, I want to be a part of something that is bigger than me and so great. So yeah,
Thank
thank you
you
so
so
much
much.
for inviting
Thank
me.
you so much. My pleasure. Yes. You know, why we are doing this is because today women entrepreneurs are the changing face of India, and you are the true example. So that's what we celebrate here, sharing your journeys and struggles, and accepting our invitation and coming over is the best that our guest does, and by sharing their journey and with their audience, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And our team and me myself wishes you great success, Sushmita.
Thank you
I
so much.
I also want to thank my audience for joining us and giving us so much love. Stay tuned as we will be coming up with much more and with our next guest soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye, Sushmita. Bye.